A little over a month ago, I published a video outlining what my channel here could be doing over the next 12 months. And right after that, I published a couple more videos, but then jumped into a hole of nothing or no more publishing here on the channel. And I want to take a chance here to kind of go over what happened, why it happened, and also what I'm trying to do about it, or how I'm rethinking my process around my YouTube channel. The reason why I'm making this video is because I have a dislike toward people that say they're going to do something and specifically say that now there's going to be regular videos and uploads and all of that, and then just randomly disappearing, never to be heard from again. And then a couple of months later saying, hey, I'm back again, and starting the whole cycle over. Now, I see how that might be a bit of a funny situation or a funny thought to think about, because that is kind of what I'm doing here. But at the same time, I think that it's kind of important to talk about these aspects of the creator life cycle as well. Now, this story kind of takes off on that part where I talked about in those two other videos that I mentioned. And there I talked about how this channel essentially could basically earn about 2,000 euros per month over the next 12 months if I continue to upload and grow the channel and grow the count of views and all of those things with adding to the platform. This is all based on kind of like estimations based on Social Blade, which is a platform that kind of like does analytics for YouTube. Now, these are not numbers that I'm writing right now. However, at the same time, when that prediction was kind of like something that I stumbled across, I also kind of crossed over the realm of earning over 1,000 euros with YouTube and the attached income sources like affiliate earnings from the Amazon links in the description down below. That, for me, was a complete turning point. And I think I mentioned this in the previous video as well, because it essentially means that I can, right now at least, in my current living situation, pay for everything that I need. My apartment share here, the food, as well as insurances and those kind of things. However, it's not enough to fund future growth, fund future investments, which I'm already doing and I have already started to do, and also future adventures as well as lifestyle changes and adjustments. That, of course, also comes with a whole thought process as to how much lifestyle inflation I would like, because as I've mentioned in a previous video, the last few years basically have been me living on the bare minimum, which I recently checked was basically unemployment, and everything else was invested back into the business. So I don't have fancy clothes, a car, or anything like that, not even a huge TV or something like that, but everything that I own is for the purpose of creating more and being in the business. So laptop, cameras, and all of those things, which you may get if you are an employed person and the person that is employing you is basically responsible so that you have the tools to work with. For me, those are things that I have to invest into for this business. Now, if you are on that same path, then you know that experience, and maybe you are also heavily invested into the equipment that you use for your work, but not really in your enjoyment and free time or spare time activities. Now, over the long term, I would like to make adjustments to my lifestyle in terms of the things that I have around me and the activities that I can enjoy. But that, of course, comes with a increased income from where I am right now. All of that may be for a future video, but it is important as context as to the situation that was happening and also the way that I am looking back at it now, which essentially is I crossed over the mark, which means I was able to basically take off the business for a moment. And that is exactly what I did. I stepped back and didn't really continue making the same amount of content here for the channel, which I had previously planned, and I also have lists and lists of things that I would like to publish here. But I stepped back, I created a bit of a software product that I'm going to talk about here on the channel in the future as well. And basically just put myself into a cave where I was in a situation or a place which felt a lot like in the times when I was a student or a pupil, even going back to like 14, 15, 16 years old, where I didn't really have to worry about anything around me, but instead I was able to just focus on whatever project was right in front of me. And I was able to kind of like just go with the flow, what I was excited about in that moment. And for a certain amount of time, I was really excited about the software product, to develop that, build it, and then see that it works and potentially even already launch it. Now, I have been able to do that over the course of 2.5 weeks. And during that time also published a couple of Skillshare classes also here on the channel, which you can check out if you'd like. Those are around podcasting and the Alfred productivity app for Mac. But other than that, I didn't create any video content. So for me, that was an important step. But at the same time, for the business, for this YouTube channel, it wasn't a smart investment. And right now, this situation also gave me the luxury to be actually able to step back a little bit and mentally kind of like think about where I want everything to go. Because of crossing over that threshold gave me the chance to step back and to not be in the day-to-day grind every single day. Now, of course, I would appreciate or would much rather like to have a situation where to take a step back and maybe go on a holiday and completely separate myself from my environment to be able to kind of like refocus everything and think through the next couple of weeks or months. But that's not where I am right now. Where I am is a bare minimum, but that's taken care of, which gives me the freedom and peace of mind to actually kind of like reconsider where I want to go with these things and how I want to do things in the future. And so that chance was incredibly important. It kind of felt like I heard other people talk about when they, for example, have a company and they were grinding for years and building. And at some point they have an exit or they sell shares or potentially step back from a position in the company and become more of a shareholder or kind of like owner position where you have a manager instead of yourself running the company. And all of a sudden you can step back and you have a clearer mind and you can focus on the bigger picture. And that felt a little bit like that, although I was also spending my time on that idea of a software product and I was building that and I was kind of like giving a chance to the child in me that just wanted to do that because it was exciting and interesting and all of those things. However, in that part of business development and thinking about how I want to do things in the next few months and weeks and how I could potentially also grow this channel and the business with Nicole and like all of those things, I also really noticed that taking those weeks off was not at all what was helpful for the business itself. It might have been important for myself and I enjoyed the time, but in terms of growth and fast growth, it was a stopper in a way. Now, I can't change the past, of course, but I can look into the future and see where are my opportunities, what are the things that are important right now. And one man who basically is an inspiration in this whole process is called Alex Hormozi, and I will link his channel down in the description below. I think I've mentioned him a couple of times here already, but he's doing really interesting and inspiring videos about entrepreneurship and business building and also talks and keynotes that he shares on his channel, which are in that realm and kind of like going off a completely different realm and a different energy because he speaks about entrepreneurship in terms and in magnitudes, which I am absolutely not used to. So what happened there is that for me, I noticed that basically I'm probably spending too much time on too many different projects. And it's already enough that Nicole and I are running our own businesses, but at the same time also I am helping her in certain business parts as well. And I'm running my multiple ideas, projects, businesses on top of that. And that is probably not the smartest idea. And it is really, really hard for me to step back and realize that probably running the software product that I just built in a couple of weeks and running the short link service for myself and trying to make that a monetizable business and all of those things next to the ideas of potentially running a podcast and this YouTube channel and the businesses with Nicole in terms of the Niyama Academy and others, it's just a lot. And potentially, it's stifling the progress that we can make if we were to take all of our energy and put it into just one of those projects. Now, I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. We are not going to shut down everything. However, at least for me, it is a mental exercise to think about where I want to spend more of my time versus where I might take a step back and refocus that energy back onto, let's say, this YouTube channel, because that is, at least right now, it feels like one of the main opportunities that I have for myself. And I have the lists of videos that I need to get done also because, of course, there are companies that have sent me products and I need to publish those reviews, or I want to publish those reviews so those connections are not burned in any way. It's been an interesting few weeks for those kind of realizations and that processing to happen and even having the chance to do so. But I think I'm ready to step back into the game. And that might also have something to do with different upgrades here around the studio, being able to produce in a different way, and also having the EOS R5C here and also playing with that, having the videos and the lists of content that I want to do about this camera and also around the whole setup of all of the things that I'm doing here. So all of that is really exciting and interesting, and I hope you are interested in all of those videos as well as listening and hearing about the journey, because in the next few weeks and months, I think I will continue to integrate these building process videos on top of also sharing again about tutorials and the equipment and all of those things. Now, an interesting thing that I wanted to also mention here is that during the time when I was doing the software product and all of that, and I was taking that break from YouTube, or at least a break from the obligation to produce anything, during that time, it felt like that was the only thing that I wanted. And that is an interesting learning to take away from this experience. I wasn't able to know or understand that this may not be the smartest investment of my time. And if I thought about that, then at least I didn't really give it a chance to change my behavior. So that is something that I am looking forward to potentially catching myself in the future and being able to divert back or redirect my energy back to the actually main focus of the time at that given time. So that's something that I'm trying to learn and understand about myself and to potentially do a different path next time, because I think, or at least I recognize that I seem to be easily distracted. And maybe that's just a big piece of the shiny object syndrome at play, and combining that with some kind of a situation or experience where I feel some kind of a pressure as well as some kind of a blockade that is kind of like in front of me. And instead of focusing on that or overcoming that, it is much easier to just go into a different direction, at least for some time. But I hope that in the future I can do this more direct and also continue on the path forward, overcoming these obstacles that are potentially in the way and continuing in that straight line to be able to grow something more substantially and bigger. So that's going to be an interesting part about this learning experience, to see how I can handle that in the future. Now, as I've mentioned, I have tons of things on my to-do list for this channel. I have tons of videos in the pipeline, and maybe that's actually one of those blockades or one of those things that I have to overcome, which is a kind of like decision fatigue in terms of like which video to do next, and also overwhelm from the sheer amount of video ideas that I have on that list and seeing how many things I need to shoot. So that's going to be an interesting challenge in itself to tackle that. But at least right now, I feel completely capable of doing that. I feel energized and motivated. So I'm going to move forward here and bring you that content. And I'm also looking forward to connect with you more deeply and Please note that at the moment, I do not necessarily connect with the comment section that much, but if you are going to join me on my Telegram channel and the comments there, then that is an alternative. The whole comment section thing is something I'm going to talk about in another video as well, because it's been an interesting experience to kind of like step back from that, from previously answering every single comment, but that became a little bit too much, and also a little bit of an experiment to not look at the comment section at all, basically, for amount of time. With all that said, I hope this was an interesting insight for you in terms of like what's going on here and why I haven't published a lot in the last few weeks, and also what is going to happen in the next few weeks going forward, and how I am trying to learn from my own experience and how I'm going to maybe adjust a few things here and there. Now, if you found this interesting or helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That is always appreciated, and also gives me more information about whether or not I want to or should do more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day. Make it your life, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.